Hi, everyone. Thanks again for joining us for another edition of Newport Film Virtual. This week, we have been screening the incredibly powerful and moving and I think essential viewing documentary On the Record. It's available still on our website, newportfilm.com. So if you haven't had the chance to stream the film yet, you can check it out until midnight tonight. It's Thursday, June 11th. We've been doing these virtual screenings now for 11 weeks, and we want to thank you so much for being a part of this virtual screening experience. And we're going to continue to bring you different virtual options every week while we're adjusting to this kind of new normal. So tonight it is our pleasure to bring to you the film team behind On the Record. So I'm going to take this opportunity to introduce Newport Film's co-founder and artistic director, Andrea Van Buren, to tell you a little bit about the filmmakers.
Thanks, Becca. Hi, Becca. First, just a quick thank you to HBO Max for giving us the opportunity to screen On the Record. We're really thrilled to have this as part of our program. We think it's an incredibly important film. And I want to just do a quick intro for Kirby, Dick, and Amy Ziering. They are two-time Emmy Award-winning and two-time Academy Award-nominated filmmakers behind the most groundbreaking and investigatory documentaries today. Their Oscar-nominated film, The Invisible War, broke the story of the epidemic of rape in the US military and led to 5 congressional hearings and the passing of countless reforms through Congress. Their follow-up film, The Hunting Ground, about campus sexual assault, ignited a national discussion and led to sweeping policy changes at hundreds of schools. Their next investigation, The Bleeding Edge, was about the fast-growing medical device industry's corruption and malfeasance, and has catalyzed a worldwide debate about regulation and patient safety. Throughout their partnership, they have garnered Oscar nominations, Emmy Awards, a Peabody Award, and Independent Spirit Award, and so many more. We're thrilled to be hosting Kirby and Amy tonight. Thank you both so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
So my first question is about your creative partnership. The two of you have worked on so many powerful and impactful films. How long have you been working together, and how did that all start?
Kirby, you want me to take it? Kirby? Okay. Well, we've been working on and off for over 20 years now, and it started just fortuitously. I was in grad school, and I was trying to make a film about Jacques Derrida, the philosopher. And a friend of mine was an editor out in LA, and she knew someone that was editing a film of Kirby's. And she said, when you're out in LA, you should meet him because he's supposedly a really interesting doc filmmaker. And so we started talking, and we ended up collaborating on Derrida. It ended up doing super well, and we just kept working together on and off for a while, and then formally formed our company together 10 years ago. Kirby fact checked me. I have no idea what I'm saying half the time. Right? Was it 10? I don't know. For a certain length of time, we have a company together now.
Okay, I'm just staying quiet for a second in case Kirby has something to say.
I don't think he can hear us.
I don't think so either.
Uh-oh.
He looks so serene.
Okay, well, I'll just keep, all right, there, okay. I think he's logging back in. So what has it been like for you with this film reaching a wide audience amid all of this kind of fear and loathing and the whole situation that's going on so many different levels?
Right now, you mean?
Right now.
The timing of it coming out?
Yes.
Well, it's an extraordinary, exceptional time, and a time that's exhilarating. I mean, I think, just like Me Too, I never thought I'd live to see that kind of watershed and potential. I think it's similarly. Hi, Kirby.
Kirby, we can hear you now.
Oh, you can? Okay, great.
Yeah.
I can only hear you, Becca.
Uh-oh. That's interesting. Amy, sorry, what were you saying? Maybe Kirby can hear you.
Yeah, Kirby can. Let's try and get him on so he can dialogue with this.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Brendan, our amazing technical director behind the scenes to help make things kind of move smoothly. A little bit better, Kirby?
Just you. You're the only person I can hear.
Testing again. Can you hear me now, Kirby? So weird. We did a tech check and you were fine. Nothing?
No.
So odd. Ryan, are you out there? Can someone troubleshoot Kirby?
Kirby, I think if you log off of the call and then sign back on, just close down the web browser and come back in. And if you're in Chrome, it works a little bit better.
Yes, I am in Chrome. Okay. Let's see.
I think just close out of the browser and then we'll see you again in a second. And hopefully that'll work things out.
All right. Okay, great.
So throughout our Q&A, if anyone out there has any questions, you can feel free to type those into the comments section now for Amy. But when Kirby comes back, we'll have questions for him as well. So if you have any questions about On the Record or any of the previous films, we did show The Hunting Ground back in 2015, right, Andrew? Which was a really, really powerful event that we hosted in partnership with the local university in Newport. And it was one that I'll never forget. And we're so grateful to you for this. All right, Kirby's back.
Yep.
Excellent. Okay.
You're back. Okay, so the question was, what is it like releasing this film at this time? And I said, just like Me Too was this watershed moment that actually took me by surprise. And I never imagined there would be that kind of collective, public, unified outcry about an issue that was really, what's the word? Inaugural in a way, unique. Likewise, I'm quietly optimistic that this is a pivotal new moment in our country's consciousness about racism and its systemic pervasiveness. And so I think that it's fortuitous that our film is coming out at this time because it exactly addresses that issue. Sexual assault does not affect and afflict everyone equally. There are differences, and there are huge differences if you're a person of color. And that really is sort of the big topic of discussion now in the zeitgeist about the way that all sorts of traumas and violences are, impact people of color significantly differently. And we finally need to have a collective reckoning about it that's long overdue and causing so much pain. So I think, I'm glad and proud that it's able to add to that conversation right now and cross-resonate with it. So that's great. The other thing I'll say that I've been thinking about, which is interesting because people keep talking about two viruses, the pandemic and racism. But people aren't saying, racism is a construct. Like, we can get rid of it like that. The pandemic, biological, a little harder, you need a vaccine. But really, we need to sort of think about racism. We've just, white people made it up to stay in power. And we can stop having that fiction, inform and infect all the ways that we run and operate, on the planet. So I just hope that people, the double virus analogy doesn't sort of get too cemented or reified, because I really think that actually, if we think of it as just sort of, something that was just made up, so, that we could actually change it a little more readily and quickly.
So Becca and I were out at Sundance and were at your premiere. So we were lucky enough to kind of be in the room when that happened. And, there was a lot of buzz about Oprah Winfrey and the fact that she had been supporting the film, and there was a series that she'd been working on, and all these other, there was a lot of conversation about it and a lot of buzz about the film. And I just wanted to talk about kind of what it means to have somebody kind of as powerful as, Oprah Winfrey feeling maybe pressured by Russell Simmons. I mean, it's like, I just was wondering if you guys could talk about that, because it's not like she wasn't aware of the type of film you were making. It seems like you guys were really in it together, and she was part of the process. So I was wondering kind of what you think really ended up happening, or what was the catalyst that took her out of play.
Kirby, can I run with that for a second?
Go ahead.
She was very much a co-collaborator. This was not something we ever would have undertaken without her. She saw a tiny assembly in January or February of 2019. And then for a full year, we were working in concert with her and her team at Apple and Harpo, to sort of forge this project. So, I mean, her input and influence and vision is part and parcel to the whole film throughout. In fact, Apple, it was at the behest of Harpo that Apple filled out the Sundance application. So they were on board, and that was after Picture Lock. So all I can say is she loved it until she didn't. And the other thing I can say is that what you saw play out in the distribution path is exactly what thematically the film addresses.
Right.
The confluence of influences that inhibit people, even people with tremendous power, feeling comfortable speaking out on this issue. And that was sort of the tragedy and heartbreak for us and for all the women involved. But it's an instructive lesson too, right? So I try and look at it as something that, wow, what can I learn? What can we all learn from that? And my God, how brave are these women?
Exactly.
That actually still showed up at Sundance.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, what we do know is that, the evening of the day that it became public, we know that Russell Simmons had a conversation with her and was pressuring her. So, and we know it was ongoing pressure. So, that's what we know. The other thing we know is that we, made the decision, Amy and I and our entire team made the decision we weren't going to back down, that this film had to be shown at Sundance, because once it was made public and these women's voices, these courageous women had come forward and told their story, if the film was pulled, then everyone would ask questions about their story. And we, this is not something we could allow to happen. We had to stand behind these women no matter what happened. And so we did.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, just to amplify, having done films in this arena, we knew that if we blinked, everybody would intimate that there must be a problem with the film, there must be a problem with the story. If we changed the distribution path after it had been publicly announced that it was going to Sundance. So we couldn't bow.
So was the original series, was that about what the film was about, or was it a different, what was the original series about that you were working on with Oprah?
The initial project sort of was largely informed by her vision, was to have several episodes, each focusing on a different industry, assault and harassment within a different industry. And the title was Toxic Labor. So we were looking at not just, we were looking at women in entertainment, Silicon Valley, gaming, etc.
No. It's interesting because it seems so similar to, if you followed along the Harvey Weinstein story and reading like Ronan Farrow's book and Catch and Kill. There's so much of that pressure that's put on journalists or filmmakers to back off of a story like this. And I wonder if that, I'm curious about the New York Times article and kind of the timing of the article and the film. It seems like you had already started filming Drew when she started to be going down the journey with the New York Times. So I'm kind of curious, how that process evolved. And then also if those New York Times writers got any pressure in the same way that, Oprah said, I'm out.
You want to start, Amy?
Sure. Well, it was really, what you see in the film is very true to the process. I mean, when we met Drew, she really had no idea if she was going to come forward or if she was even going to agree to be in a film. In fact, we didn't have a release from her for well over a year from when we started filming with her.
Wow.
I mean, so it's very, and even once she decided to talk to the New York Times and let us film that, after that, it was another 9 months before she decided, if she would actually want to then still be in a documentary on top of that. She thought, well, maybe that'll be enough. Maybe that's all I want to do is go forward in this way and move on. And she wanted to sort of gauge her resilience and the backlash before she committed to another, public outing. So that was how it was. And we absolutely were 100% supportive of her. And we made it clear from the start when I first met her, because she was still, saying, hey, I don't know what I'm doing, and here's my story, but I don't know if I want to tell it. And what we said was, look, you do you, totally, you've gone through enough. We don't want to in any way influence or impact. This is your life. Whatever you decide to do. But if you want us to just tag along and with no pressure and, no expectations, we are down to do that. And she said, okay. And we abided by that. We were extremely respectful.
Yeah. And as far as I know, the New York Times, as far as we know, did not receive pressure. And this is another thing that we were very confident about these women's stories, Sherry, Silai, and Drew, because their stories had already been reported in the New York Times, the LA Times, and the Hollywood Reporter. I mean, it had already been vetted. And then, of course, we go through, having made the Indivisible War, the Hunting Ground, the Bleeding Edge, we go through a very extensive vetting process. It's months and months and pages and pages and pages. Then it went to our attorney. Then it went to Harpo's attorney, Apple's attorney. I mean, it had been completely vetted and signed off. And then it went to HBO Max. So this is probably one of the most vetted stories, of documentaries. So yeah, I mean, we're very confident.
At what point did HBO Max get involved? Was that during, after Sundance, or because that wasn't before, right? Because this all.
No. We started talking to them right after Sundance, right, Kirby?
Yeah, I think they were at the same screening you were at, and we know it made an impact on several people from HBO Max, and and they've been amazing. I mean, it was a tumultuous ride for us, and we weren't sure how another distributor was going to react, and they've just handled every step of the way unbelievably perfect. I mean, supportive to us, supportive to the survivors, proud of the film, supporting it, financially. I mean, it's been a great experience.
It's great. So you didn't have to make any changes after the film screened. It was like picture locked, and you took that, and
right.
That's what we're seeing now.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Becca, do you have another question before we jump in?
Yeah, sure, I do. So the film, goes through so much of the history of hip hop, which I thought was really fascinating and a kind of crazy journey. And I think I'm also so struck through the scenes where they're just talking about you're showing clips from all kinds of different films and all different music videos and the lyrics, and actually reading these lyrics, which I think so often we all, like little kids are walking around singing these songs, and you're just like, oh my God. It was a moment of pause for me. But I was kind of interested because I imagine, I'm just a little curious if there were similar stories that you uncovered that came out from performers, from artists, similar to what happened to these women, or if it was something that, I don't imagine it didn't touch artists, but I'm just curious about your choice to not include them as much in the film as more behind the scenes people.
You mean other people who are accused of sexual assault within the music business, or? No,
I mean if there were other accusers of Russell Simmons that were in the music industry who were performers, if they witnessed it, because I can't imagine that these things were happening in front of artists' eyes and they didn't see it or say anything, and just sort of your choice not to include interviews with artists in the film.
Well, I mean, this is, always the challenge when people come forward, because, it's not only the fact that there is, a perpetrator who is the problem, but it's an entire industry. And this is true with any industry. This is not just unique to hip hop or the music industry. We've looked in, various other institutions and industries, exactly the same. People who are otherwise very good people don't step up. They allow this to happen. And then when this kind of information comes forward, it can be very, very difficult to get people to speak. This certainly happened with the Hunting Ground. I mean, this really surprised us because there's thousands, tens of thousands of administrators who have seen this and know that it's a problem. And so few people really wanted to speak. So it wasn't really surprising to us that there weren't people who were aware of this who did come forward and speak, because there are consequences within the industry.
Yeah.
Hopefully the more it gets addressed, the more, the impact of the Me Too movement, if it keeps moving, people will feel more comfortable. And I think they are feeling more comfortable.
Yeah.
But Becca, for all our films, there's definitely a percentage of people that we talk to, but just only on background.
Yeah.
They don't really, they're supported. But, it's artists and executives and et cetera. So
I love.
we're grateful to the people that felt safe enough coming forward.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love how you chose to include kind of Drew's creative, gift to the industry, and because I don't think a lot of people, when they're listening to those songs that she was involved with, really understand that she was, unless you're really in the music industry, you don't really think, well, there's somebody that had this idea to put these two people together, and how you kind of addressed, the years that have been lost, the creative years in her career that have been lost, and to be able to end on kind of that positive note with that young artist in the apartment. And she's, Drew, even though she's done so much, is so humble and willing to work with this young talent and start over. I mean, she's just an incredible character, incredible person. And I just 100% agree with your choice of making her the central character. She's just amazing. And, color aside, she's just the most incredible, she's the most incredible human being. And I think can speak to, is going to be able to, I just hope a zillion people see this film, because I think she's just so raw and so honest, talking about her experience. You feel like you know her. Mm-hmm. It's not like you're sitting there looking at an interview. It's like you're developing a friendship with this person who's opening up to you as you're watching the film. So you guys were, I think that you were successful in that. Do we have questions, or should I keep?
You can keep going, Andrea. If anyone,
I have a comment I can say about that. One of the things that came from the first time we met with Ms. Winfrey, she said, I've worked on this issue for most of my professional life, and I've never gotten people to understand the really long-term impact. I just have never been able to make that resonate, in a way that people leave and understand with. And so that, I thought, we took that, and I remembered that comment. I thought that's interesting, and sort of took it as a mandate in some ways. That's something we've always wanted to, with our earlier films, that the issue when we started getting involved with it, the culture was completely different. And it was the bar we had to lift was simply to tell people that these crimes happen, and you need to believe women for the most part when they told you about them, because, statistics back them up 100%. And that pretty much was the big theme of The Hunting Ground and Invisible War.
Yeah.
But what we wanted to do with this series and with the Drew film was, go deeper and look deeper. So we had this moment and opportunity to go into the long-term impact. And the other thing that happened was, in the course of doing the series and interviewing women from all these different industries, the light bulb went off for me that it isn't what we've always assumed. Oh, misogyny, the glass ceiling, women can't be promoted, it's just, the cabal of men that don't hire women. It's like, well, yeah, there's a glass ceiling, but also it's actually that women are self-exile out of the business because they're traumatized by harassment and assault. And that's something no one has put together or really talked about. So we've lost generations, not only of women leaving, but their creative input, their passion, what all the work they would have produced, all the artists they would have discovered and put together, all the women and men they would have mentored. It's just the loss of social capital.
Yeah.
No one's talking about that. That to me was like really important. And so that's why we wanted to sort of put in that section of The Missing Woman where Kierna says, who knows what Drew would have done. And I want that to not be just emblematic of Drew, but of generations of women that have just been, discarded. And we've lost so much as a culture.
Yeah, in every industry.
Why we have 5 Marvel films to choose from every day. I'm serious. There's a direct relationship between that, right? If you have the same 5 people making these decisions, they're not getting any input of what the reality of the universe is.
Yeah.
Was the first time Drew saw the film at Sundance and the other women, or had they seen it before? That was the first time.
we always make sure with films like this, and they all see it prior. So they saw it, with a good, a good lead time so they can process, think about it, and prepare themselves for the public.
Got it. Yeah.
I'm curious, and I don't know how, recently updated any of the notes at the end of the film are, but have there still been no, there's 20 public allegations against Russell Simmons and no legal action has come? No justice for these victims? Yeah.
No justice. There are police departments looking into this still. And we are aware of other people who, have reported that they've been assaulted. So, but they haven't yet, gone on the record. So, I mean, and it's not surprising. I mean, one of the things we know with a perpetrator is it's not just 1 or 2 or 20, and it's oftentimes it's just something that they repeat again and again. So the people that come forward, you kind of have to assume that there are many more that we will never hear from.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Have you gotten any backlash since the film has been released? Or,
no,
right.
No. Yeah, no, it's been really, really well received. Yeah, we've been very, very pleased. Yeah.
That's so great. So, gosh, I have so many questions that I wrote down.
I can say something else off of what Becca said about the hip hop lyrics. I think that's a really good example of what I was talking about the viral toxin of just our cultural vocabulary. In that, it's kind of unconscious, like the sexism and misogyny, right? It was like, I noticed, as you said, Becca, you start listening to the lyrics, and you're like, wait, what? And yet that's something that's droned into all of us every day, like a virus.
My 13-year-old son who listens to it all the time. So,
yeah, that we repeat and we don't even see. I mean, I remember back in the day when I used to do like Soul Cycle or some of it. No, not Soul Cycle. I did a class out here where they showed you a video while you listen to the music.
Oh, yeah.
And I felt like the 90-year-old, church lady, because I would say, can we please just at least just listen to music because the videos. And honestly, these 20-year-old women would look at me like I was crazy. They didn't even notice.
Yeah.
I would say, what's wrong with the video? And I would say, well, show me a video where any of the men have as little clothing on as the women, and I'm happy to watch it. But every single video, the women are naked, the men are fully dressed. Like, there's just a problem right there. But it didn't even, register for them. So that's what I'm saying, that, these things we just inhale like the air, and we don't understand how much they poison our consciousness and limit our imagination. And that's what racism is. It's just also a construct that we've invented and poisons the air, and we can just eliminate if we just everyone starts taking action to make everything that we put out not have those kind of limitations and racist ideology messages.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There's something that I've been thinking a lot about, and we've sort of been asking every filmmaker who's joined us in these 11 weeks, is sort of what the impact of isolation, quarantining, people working more from home. I wonder with the work that you do, dealing so often, with these kinds of allegations, I sort of can't help but think these are all, interesting power struggles and power dynamics. And we're hearing from so many more big companies that are now like, we will all work from home forever. So I wonder if maybe the silver lining could be maybe a little bit less harassment in the world, maybe a little bit less, of these kinds of incidents, because how can you be, I mean, obviously you can still be harassed by a Zoom meeting, but it's obviously so much more difficult. So I guess I'm just kind of grasping at is there any kind of hope that we can find through bad situations that we're in?
It's interesting. I mean, are people more on an even playing field in terms of power on a screen as opposed to, in person in an office situation where somebody's in a corner office, you see all that. I mean, we all, I mean, I suppose there's such a thing as a power background, but it doesn't have the same kind of power as a power office. So, yeah, and that's actually interesting. I mean, isn't it that sort of the ideal of the internet that everybody? I mean, I'm not saying it's the reality, but there was that initial sort of kind of utopian quality that everybody's voice would be heard, and there would be a certain, equality, and maybe the virus is enforcing that a bit in this one regard. I mean, obviously there's a real inequality in terms of the people who are suffering from it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I don't know, just leaving us something, a little bit, a little glimmer of hope, perhaps. I know that we've taken up a lot of your time, and we just want to ask you also, if people don't have the opportunity to stream it through Newport Film, which you still can do until midnight tonight on Thursday, June 11th, where are the other places that you can watch on the record?
HBO Max, please. It's a new platform. We'd love it if people signed on. I think you get it free if you're already a HBO subscriber, and also there's a free trial period. So I think you just go to hbo.com, I hope, and you can sign up for HBO Max, and it would be amazing. Why it's important, I mean, it's actually a political act, because the more people that watch this film, the more platforms will buy these kind of films and release them, which is not a given in this day and age. So, we really, really appreciate if people, if they like the film or feel moved and inclined, if they would spread the word. And ideas are viral too, and let's get the right ideas trending.
Yeah. And also, if you if you liked this film and you want to see your other work, you might not know off the top of your head, but is The Hunting Ground and your previous titles, are they available on Netflix, readily available places? iTunes, probably.
I think a number of them are on Amazon, and we think they'll be coming back shortly to other platforms.
Awesome.
Good.
The Bleeding Edge is on Netflix, our previous film. Yes.
Great.
I also want to give a quick shout out to the Martha's Vineyard Film Festival, because I think that they'll be streaming the film on their site next week, and then they're going to be driving people to watch this Q&A. So I just want to say hi to the team at Martha's Vineyard Film Festival, and I also want to thank HBO Max again, and Amy Ziering and Kirby Dick. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time on this Thursday night. 8:30.
Thank you, Andrea and Becca. Thank you to everybody who's watching. Stay safe, stay sane, and practice anti-racist policies every day in your life, and we'll be a lot better.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, you guys. And join us again next week. We'll be back on Thursday night at 8 o'clock with another film and some other great streaming content. And we know a lot of you out there also have heard about our exciting announcement that we're going to be able to start doing drive-in films this summer. Yay, in a socially distanced, safe way. So check our website for the opportunity to RSVP. And thanks so much, everyone. Have a great night.
Thank you.